What's up team? As always, I hope you're all having a fantastic day. I'm Nick and I work as a product designer, which means that from day to day, I really just need my laptop to get anything done. However, since I really love tech as well as building beautiful spaces, interior design, and all of that, I do really enjoy building desk setups as well and building my whole home office. And over the past year, it has changed a lot, but one thing stayed consistent. I still try to make this space a space that makes me feel creative, productive, and of course, a space that's going to be comfortable for those long days. Today, I'll be doing a tour of my home office, sharing the tech that I have, and most importantly, the ideas behind why things are the way that they are. While, like I said, I could work with my laptop from anywhere, having a space that's dedicated to just getting things done is something that I found really helpful, and it all starts with having a good desk and chair combo for the perfect ergonomics. I have not changed my desk since I got it, maybe like 4 years ago, but the chair did get an update this year, and it's been a huge update because my last chair was all beaten up. But let's get started with the desk. When it comes to the desk, I went with a standing desk from Herman Miller. This is the Jarvis model. They come in a lot of different colors, sizes, as well as height you can adjust. I went with a 60 by 28 model, which is big enough, but I do wish I went with a slightly larger model after seeing the one that I got from my girlfriend, which was a 72-inch. I think this would have fit my work style a bit better, but still, I'm really happy with this. And for the color combo, I went with walnut and black, which is a theme that you'll see throughout my space. It's just colors that I personally really enjoy. Now, if I'm being honest, I used to use the standing feature a lot more than I do now. I used to do it almost religiously. I would do half the day standing up, whereas now I'll do it every now and then when I think about it. More often, it will be when I'm stuck on a problem and I need a new perspective or I need to kind of move around and get my thoughts going. I'll just put the desk in standing position. One thing that helps a lot though with standing up is having a standing desk that you can program different heights in it. The one I have has 4 settings that you can save. And now for the chair, the one that I had was really old and it was starting to fall apart a bit. However, this year I upgraded my chair to a fully ergonomic chair from FlexiSpot. It offers all the things that you would expect in terms of customization, from the armrest to the sitting height, stuff like that. But even more, you can also change the angle of the armrest to match whatever position you like. You have a nice headrest that's really comfortable lumbar support, and the mesh design makes it also a really breathable design so you won't ever run hot. And now that I have my desk and chair, I can comfortably work for the entire day, but of course, if I want to get anything done, I do need a main device to work on. And this is another area where I did a big upgrade. I used to have a 2019 MacBook Pro that was doing the job sort of, but was starting to get a bit slower, mainly because it had a really small amount of memory and also storage was only at 250 gigs. So I decided to finally upgrade to a 2024 MacBook Pro with the M4 chip. I didn't go all out on this laptop just because I didn't really need it to, so I went with what I needed. And it has 24 gigs of memory as well as a terabyte of storage, which is more than enough for editing videos, doing the occasional like 3D renders just for fun, and all of my design work. The 1 terabyte of storage is the only area that might come limiting with time. However, I do pay for Dropbox, and so whenever I have problems with my storage, I just upload everything to there and everything works fine afterwards. I went with the matte black one. I think it looks really good, especially with their new kind of boxy design. I used to have it on the laptop stand where it was always kind of open. However, now I'd rather have just one screen to work with and not have the other one where it was always kind of just distractions. So I ended up deciding to always leave it closed and just put it directly on the desk shelf that I'm using. When I do really need the second monitor for my laptop, I'll just use my native Union laptop stand that I just fold out, put my laptop in, get the things that I need to do, and then once I'm done, I'll put it back down and put it on the desk shelf. This one is the Balolo Setup Cockpit. It's a really good desk shelf. I did do a full review of it. If you want to go check it out, it'll be right there as well as in the description. The thing that makes this one really special is that it's a modular setup, which means you can really make it your own. They sell a bunch of accessories that you can add to it to really make it fit the work that you're going to be doing. And so in terms of accessories, the one that lets me just put my laptop in is the laptop holder. But some of the other ones that I use are the iPad holder, which I'll get back to in a second. And then I also use their tray system where I have a large tray at the bottom, then a small shelf, as well as 3 small catch-all trays. I use them to organize things like my pens and other random stuff like keycaps and things like that. And that brings me to the iPad holder. And when I want to be a bit more distracted, if for example I'm doing something that's a bit more mindless, like really repetitive tasks, I'll just put my iPad on there, put whatever I want to watch. And that means that I can be a bit more intentional about when I want to be really focused or a bit more distracted in doing some lighter work. Now, on top of that, I still use the same 32-inch Acer monitor that I've used for about 4 years now, and I don't have much negative things to say about it. The color accuracy is good. I tend to work in Figma where you have this big open canvas, and so it's nice to have a monitor that's going to be the same regular size, just larger. It gives me more space to work with. However, it isn't a 4K monitor, so for that specific reason, I'll be upgrading it pretty soon. And now, to keep all of this running with just a one cable setup, I've recently got the HiDock docking station. It's a docking station that uses AI to take notes for you while you're in meetings, and it also offers a one cable setup. You can just plug everything in there, plug your laptop, and everything will work right off the bat. Of course, the main focus of this specific item is that it takes really good notes while you're in meeting using different AI models. And instead of buying a bunch of different AI subscriptions, you could just buy this and it will work forever. And so if you're like me and you tend to get a bit distracted sometimes in meeting, this one is going to be a really good addition because everything will get noted down, so you'll make sure to not have anything fall in the cracks. However, that being said, I still like to take manual notes on top of that because specifically it keeps me kind of focused in the conversation and engaged. And I've changed the way I take notes a bit. Now I use more like sketches and things like that because I don't need to take like word for word everything gets said, since the HiDock is taking care of that. So for all of the other manual notes, where I used to grab my iPad, that's now a distraction focused device, I instead grabbed the Penstar e-ink tablet. This is a really cool device. I wanted one for a very long time, but they're really expensive. And this one isn't so bad. It's almost half the price of the competitors, and it comes out of the box. You can use it. There's no subscriptions or anything attached. And it's just an e-ink tablet where you can take notes as much as you want. You can also annotate PDFs and things like that. Or when I'm playing around with a complex problem, I really like to draw and just get everything out of my head and then organize it later. And all of my notes in there are accessible via their app as well on any of my devices. Now, in terms of peripherals, some things have changed and some haven't. I'm still using, of course, the good old MX Master 3 mouse. It is my favorite mouse of all by a landslide. For two main reasons. It's super comfortable for those longer days. It's a really ergonomically designed mouse. And second, I like that it has a lot of options, including the thumb wheel. I use it a lot since I work, like I said, in large open canvases. It's pretty useful to just scroll from side to side. And even when I'm editing videos in DaVinci Resolve, we work with a very long timeline, so having this thumb wheel to scroll in there instead of having to kind of like zoom, de-zoom, stuff like that, which can get annoying. I really like having this there. And I won't talk too much about this. I've done it in the past already, so you know how much I like this. But the big upgrade has been to my keyboard game. Since I've gotten more and more into mechanical keyboard, I've had a few, however, I always end up going to the same 3 keyboards. I try to switch things up every now and then, but 3 of them are really standing out for me. And the first one is the Low Free Flow. This is the first mechanical keyboard that I've ever gotten, and it's a ultra slim mechanical keyboard, which makes it a more approachable option if, like me, you're coming from more like regular slim keyboards. The reason why I go back to this one is first because of its beautiful design, but also because of its really good typing experience. Plus, it sounds awesome. The next one is the most silent mechanical keyboard I've ever used. It's from Barmello, and it uses silent switches, which makes it a cool, unique kind of option. The last one is the Keychron K2HE. This is the latest addition to my setup, and it's a really unique keyboard. It looks awesome with its full black body and the wooden accents on the side. It also has unique switches that are magnetic switches. They offer a few cool little things. One of them is the typing experience is a bit different because it's magnetic, so you kind of get that almost spongy effect, like when you put 2 magnets next to each other and they kind of push back. However, it's not too intense to where it's annoying. The second thing is that you can register the click at whatever pressure point you want. So if you want it to be like super light, you can put it like 20% or something. Or if you really want to have to push all the way down, you can put it at the end. Which means if you want to type like super fast, you could do that. And all of these things together really give a unique typing experience with a beautiful sounding keyboard. Just listen to this. There are 2 really small things that annoy me a bit about this keyboard, but they're really small. The first one is that the wooden accents on the end don't perfectly match the wood tones of my desk, which isn't their fault at all, but it's just like a bit more saturated and a bit more orange than what I have. but when it's on the desk mat, you don't see it that much. Next thing is that it is insanely thick, so you really do need to have a wrist rest to use this one. And you can buy one that's designed specifically for this keyboard. It's fully made with silicone and it's super comfortable. It gives you the perfect height for the keyboard. However, it is a crazy dust magnet because of the material that it's made with. And since we now have 2 cats, whenever they come into my office, I have to clean this thing for hours because, I don't know, cat hair just seems to stick to it better than like a Swiffer. But still, I think it's worth it for having this nice, more ergonomic setup. Now, whatever the keyboard I choose to use that day, I'll always have the same mouse and they'll always sit on desk mats. I've always said that these are a really good addition to any setup because they bring the whole thing together. And lately I've been using 2 stacked on one on top of the other just for like design purposes. The one that's underneath is by Native Union and I really like the accents on the top with the little texture. And I love also that it's completely black, so it kind of makes the tech on it stand out a bit. And so on there, I'm using a Grovemade blue felt desk mat. I've had this for like maybe 2 years now and still holding up really, really well. When you put the two together, I think they bring a nice contrast to my setup as well as nice textures. Now there are just 2 more tools on my setup that I'll use every day. They are a light bar as well as a webcam you can see on top of my monitor. The light bar is by BenQ and I know some people really don't like the way that they look. I personally don't mind them that much. However, I have to say they're not like super like minimalist looking, but they're really helpful, especially if like me, you tend to work a bit more in the evenings where having a bright screen against like a dark space isn't really good for your eyes. So having this light bar is really helpful for those moments. I can just turn it on, set the perfect temperature that I want. And the next tool is my webcam. This one is from Opal. It's a 4K webcam. However, I ran into a big issue with this webcam recently since, like I said, my new job has given me a Windows laptop. And this one doesn't work for Windows. It only works for Macs. So I've had to kind of make a workaround for this. I use my real camera with a similar setup to what you're seeing right now. And while it's pretty annoying to set up on my desk every time I have work meetings, it also gives a really professional look. So it's kind of cool at the end of the day. But still, I'd rather have a webcam that works for all of my OSs. This was really never a problem. I was just using Mac and I really like this webcam. That's why I'm still keeping it. But also the design of it is really beautiful. It's one of the best designed items that I have in my space, in my personal opinion. And now that I have all of my tools set up, the rest is about making your space a space that you'll want to be in and a space that you'll want to work in. And I have a few different things for that. One is these speakers that I use. These are from Kanto, and they're a really good set of speakers that I use most often when I'm listening to music while I'm trying to get work done. I do have to say that they're a bit bass heavy. If that's something that you like, it's great. And if you want even more bass, they also sell a subwoofer. For me, I'm perfectly fine with just those 2. When we moved in here, we used to have a lot of plants in our apartment. However, since we got cats recently, a lot of the plants were toxic and I ended up moving them to my office since they never come here. And some of them live near my desk, some of them live on my IKEA shelves. And I think they add a lot to the room because they bring in so much nature and it kind of makes it a bit more of a cozy vibe that I really enjoy. Another thing you'll see with those shelves is that they're really more there for design. I've accumulated a few things that I like and I like to put them there to kind of just make it a bit more personal. I will be getting more like regular bookshelves for my books because I'm reading more and more and I'll need space for them. But for now, everything is kind of in there. It's not really minimalist, but I think it looks cool. And I like that it kind of represents things I like, from cars to tech and a few books that I really enjoyed, as well as the plants. I think they bring everything together in a nice way. And I also use the IKEA pegboard for other things that are also kind of more design related. And I also like to keep memories. And there, for example, the F1 pass that I got for last year when I went with my father to go check the F1 Grand Prix in Montreal. It was a really, really cool experience. I took a lot of photos and it was a really fun day. Another pretty unique touch is I printed 2 pictures that I liked that I took a while ago, and I printed them and put them directly on top of my desk setup. I will be changing them pretty soon because I've gotten a lot more like better pictures since I got those. But still, I think they add a nice personal touch to my space. So this space isn't the most minimalistic out there. However, every item here has earned its space, either because of the way that I work or because of their unique design. As I work as a product designer myself, I always look for items that blend beautiful design with great functionality in a really good way. I find it inspiring. I do work on digital products, not physical ones, but still you can learn things from even physical products and bring them into your digital world. And everything in here is tuned to the way that I personally work. If you're going to be doing your own desk setup, think of what you do, the way that you like to work, and build from there. And remember to take your time, of course. If there's anything in this video that you'd like me to dig more into or do a full review of, let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.